Greetings all, this is Hairy Nick.
And this is a less hairy Justin.
Welcome back to the Hangar Bay, our weekly show where we talk about your submitted X-Wing lists. And we're back over to the Rebellion this week.
Yes, and this week we've got the A-Wing.
The RZ-1 A-Wing to be precise. The OG A-Wing that kind of looks a little bit like an A. I really like the design of this, actually.
It is a very nice looking ship.
Just very elegant, very minimalist.
Yes, actually, even in canon, this ship actually has bits of wood sometimes strapped to it to keep it flying.
Yep, I can believe that. I mean, there's a whole thing with the Chardon refit, how they sort of build over the torpedo slots or the missile slots or whatever they are.
Yeah.
It's a very just cheap, efficient ships. It's one of the first sort of mainline ships the Rebellion had. If you've ever watched the TV show Rebels, you'll know that it's basically the only mass fighter they had during season 1 or 2 or whatever. There's a great scene where Vader just jumps into hyperspace and
just destroys all of them.
Just wrecks all these A-Wings and Corvettes and stuff. And yeah, they kind of needed X-Wings. X-Wings was a big turning point for the Rebellion, and A-Wings were a necessary evil, I suppose you'd say. In terms of how they function in the game, they are probably the fastest ship in the game, barring perhaps A-Wings on the Resistance. Pretty much.
TIE Interceptors do all right. And
TIE
I
Interceptors,
suppose maybe the TIE Silencer as well to a certain extent, but nothing really quite as fast.
There's a more of a focus on the Interceptor and Silencer with maneuverability. Interceptors and Silencers have the auto thrusters baked in ability that allows them to take a boost or barrel roll after any of their actions. A-Wings natively have boost and barrel roll, and their inbuilt ability allows them to take a boost after any action. So it's nearly as good. You can still barrel roll and boost.
Yeah.
You just can't boost and barrel roll. Yeah.
But like 80% of the time, it's going to be around the same.
Exactly right. In basically most situations where a boost barrel roll would be good, a barrel roll boost is just as good. I got that round the right way. I did. Nice. In fact, the only difference between this and the RZ-2 A-Wing is the RZ-2 can also move its firing arc.
And 3 points.
The basic buy-in cost of a Rebel A-Wing is 30 points for the Phoenix Squadron pilot, and over on the Resistance it's 33 points. It is worth noting that the Resistance also has Initiative 5s with very relevant pilot abilities, and Rebels don't.
Yeah, I think this ship really would like to see in those card packs when they eventually come out a couple more pilots.
Basically, in my mind, the A-Wing and the B-Wing are top of the list for needs more pilots, please. Also, one thing that's arguably quite controversial about the original A-Wing is it does not have a modification slot. This was a massive point of salt for a lot of people when the original points and upgrade slots were revealed. There was a lot of discussion over whether it would work well with afterburners, and it obviously can't take it. I actually don't think it would work all that well with afterburners because that just gives you extra boosts, which it can already take.
Yeah.
It means you wouldn't be stressing to get that boost. I get that, but afterburners is basically costed in such a way that it's fair on a ship that doesn't already have boosts. And considering the A-Wing has boosts and can also link anything to a boost, I don't think it's really interested in afterburners.
Also, you then can't do the boosts off the 1 and 2 maneuvers as well.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's that interested in it. In fact, honestly, I feel like if it had a modification slot, there might be something that comes along that makes it relevant, but look, I don't really think it hurts it as much as some people do. Oh, also, one more thing of interest about this ship is it originally only had talents on everything but the lowest cost pilot, and now it has a talent on every pilot and 2 on every pilot but the lowest cost Phoenix Squadron pilot.
So it's taking what the RZ-2 currently has and what it used to have in first edition.
Yeah, that's right, which is cool. I kind of liked how the RZ-2 was different in that regard, but the RZ-2 also has higher initiative pilots, and I think we can all agree it already functions in its role on the Resistance better than the RZ-1 on the Rebellion. So taking that away from the RZ-1 didn't really help all that much.
Yeah, and it then means that you can do a couple of crazy little things with having 2 talents on a ship.
Absolutely.
For the Rebels, it's quite nice.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. If you would like to submit a list for us to have a look at in one of these Hangar Bay episodes, simply copy all of the text, including all pilots and upgrades, into a comment down below in one of our YouTube videos. Please also be sure to include a link to that squad within your favourite squad builder. Now, if you're unsure how to do this, simply head over to Yet Another Squad Builder 2.0. They have a fantastic squad builder built into this website. You have drop-down menus that can help you find all the upgrades and everything that's legal for the ships that you want to build with, as well as a simple text viewer that you can use to copy out all the text. And if you're part of the Patron Discord, put all of this into the relevant list submission channel on that. Every week here, we are sure to include one patron list, so if you're part of the Patron Discord, it means you have a much higher chance of being featured in one of these videos. Alright, let's move over to our first list. We have a patron submitted list from Captain Bo Jangles, with Lando, Nora Wexley on the Y-Wing, and Jake Farrell.
Yeah, so Lando has Hotshot Gunner and Neen Num.
Nora has Crackshot Dorsal Turret R4 Astromech, Shield Upgrade, and Veteran Turret Gunner.
And Jake Farrell has Daredevil and Outmaneuver.
Yes, indeed. So this is a bit of a take on probably the best thing the A-Wing was doing before the last points change, where you had Jake and Han fly alongside each other. We've really stripped the points back on Han and turned him into Lando.
Yeah, he cut it back so much that he's turned into Lando.
That's right. And also, because there's no inertial dampeners on Han, I understand why taking the more expensive pilot probably isn't as desirable. And I gotta say, I keep reading Lando's ability, and I don't understand why Lando hasn't done anything busted in the meta yet.
He's got Initiative 5, which is, pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not Initiative 6, but it's still...
It's so relevant. It's so relevant. And I don't think having to fly before other ships really hurts him all that much. That baked-in ability is just really, really powerful. It's really jacked up from his first edition ability. He can now do actions for himself as well, which includes rotating the arc. I've said it before. This was way back when this was all revealed. If Lando just read, whenever he does a blue maneuver, he can rotate his arc. That'd already be good. It doesn't...
Yeah.
The fact that he can do any other action or provide an action to another ship, it just seems really bonkers to me.
Yeah, I just thought that it was just his ship, and I'm still like, yeah, that's pretty good.
It's pretty tight. Look, neither of us are Rebel players, so maybe you Rebel players can tell us, oh, Lando's actually trash because X, Y, Z. Let me know in the comments. I just don't see it myself. I don't understand. Also with Nia Num, making sure those 1 and 3 speed banks are also blue. That's a no-brainer. Hotshot Gunner is a powerful card. Thanks to his ability, it means he's going to get shots regularly. So it
just looks good, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
At 92 points...
It's very nice for 92 points. I mean, I just can't complain about that. So with all the cutbacks we've done on the Fat Han build, we can now afford this entire Nora build.
Which is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It has been hit by the last points change, it is worth noting. Turrets and gunners and all that have gone up, so the overall cost of this Nora build is 59 points. It seems okay, though. Nora makes a decent brawler. She's initiative matched with Lando. Just bear in mind, for 59 points, you could look at getting an X-Wing build on here if you really wanted to. I'm not saying that's better or worse. It's
chuck on Wedge.
Yeah, chuck on Wedge with R4 Astromech for 57 points if you really wanted to. But, however, having said that, Nora does not have to fight in the same way Wedge does.
No, and Nora's going to survive that little bit longer with more hull.
Yep. That's right.
And her baked-in ability as well, yeah.
Gets into range 1, she can take 2 range 1 shots with the turret and her primary. Definitely more upside than Wedge. I think Wedge would probably attack more consistently, though.
Yeah.
Just really cool. And it just goes to show what you can fit when you cut away, like the Luke Skywalker gunner and inertial dampeners and all that stuff off Han. And, of course, Jake going alongside that. Daredevil outmaneuver. That's perfect.
Yeah,
that is exactly what you want alongside along...
Yeah. Just 100%.
Yeah, Daredevil is really cool. It's really, really fun on the A-Wing. It means you can do red, tight boosts, I guess you'd say. And outmaneuver. It's just what you want. The key thing with Jake, and a lot of the better players have told me and shown me firsthand that Jake functions best when you use him as bait for your opponent. You try and mosquito his way around the board while your opponent ignores Lando or Nora. But what I also like about this as well is if they went for Lando or Nora, Nora's got a decent amount of defense and Lando's not as expensive. So I felt the way you can fly this list doesn't work as well as it did against traditional Fat Han.
Yeah.
Although there's no inertial dampener shenanigans, so whatever. It's another ship on the list.
Yeah, it's just crazy, isn't it?
It seems really, really good. I really want to see what this is like. So Captain Bojangles,
let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us move along to some YouTube submitted lists. This one by Jack Prouting, with Garv Andreas in the Arc 170, Dutch Vander, Gavin Darklighter, and Jake Farrell.
Yeah, now Garv Andreas has Baze Malbus.
Dutch has R4 Astromech.
Gavin has the Fire Control Systems and R4 Astromech.
Jake Farrell has nothing. And I think that's all right.
Yeah, you got a 5-point bid here.
You could do like Crackshot and Predator, Crackshot and Daredevil, Crackshot, Spam, and Crackshot. Some fun things you could do there with the remaining 5 points. You got a bunch of Initiative 4s.
Yeah. Baze Malbus there instead of the Perceptive Co-Pilot. 3 points instead of 8.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. You could just go Perceptive Co-Pilot if you don't value that bid. It's completely up to whether or not you value that bid.
I don't know. I kind of like having Baze Malbus there as like a... Yeah.
Oh, he looks badass. I get that. Baze Malbus essentially is just a budget Perceptive Co-Pilot.
Yeah, and that means that you've got those points to use wherever you want or have the bid. So
honestly,
I'm pretty happy with that.
I think the most obvious thing is the talents on Jake Farrell, if you really want to. Apart from that, you could chuck like a crack shot on Gavin Darklighter or something. I don't know. There's not a lot of points to play with. I think it's fine. Gavin Darklighter is another one I'm interested in. Considering his Initiative 4, it's a fun ability, but I think there's more value in Gavin in this list than he typically gets because he's Initiative 4. And we've got like a pretty fun-looking Junkyard build here. I'm interested to see what Junkyard can do. I just get the impression from the last points change that FFG want less beef and more Junkyard in their list. They want more pilot abilities.
More beef. Less beef, more jank.
Less beef, more jank, I suppose you could say. So that seems like the kind of thing that maybe FFG want you to fly, Jack, so take that for what it's worth. Let's move along to this list by James Tipton, this time with a couple of generic E-Wings, and Arvel Crinid and Jake Farrell.
Yeah, now the Rogue Squadron escorts both have Fire Control System and R4 Astromech.
And your A-Wings, Arvel has Intimidation, Crackshot, and Concussion Missiles.
And Jake has Marksmanship and Crackshot.
So Concussion Missiles on Arvel is handy. It's a bit of versatility. He works very well at close range and very well at range 2 to 3.
Yeah, so having Concussion there means that you've always got at least a half-decent attack.
That's true. We could think about Cluster Missiles. And I think looking at this option, it's easy to go, well, you don't want to be at range 1. You want to be at range 0. But what I like about the option on Cluster Missiles is if you miss the range 0 and you just by about a centimetre or so.
And you're just kicking yourself because you're like, I could have had that. And you're like, but now I've got Cluster Missiles.
Indeed. By the way, that's half an inch for you Americans. Exactly right. Exactly right. And then, especially if you just miss and there's 2 ships pointing right at you, you really want Cluster Missiles in that situation. You don't want to get shot at by 2 ships at range 1.
Yeah, that also then gives you an extra point to play with.
Which I don't think is crucial, but it's handy to have. You've already got 2 talents on both of your platforms. And if you had more points, you could think about like Daredevil on Jake Farrell if you really wanted to. I think we do have to point out something with this list. E-Wings hit like a truck if they're functioning well. I love the fact that they can take their target lock early and get automatic rerolls. They've got a great dial thanks to R4 Astromech. Really good dial thanks to R4 Astromech, but they are expensive. We do have to face the fact that 58 points, that could be a light wedge.
Yeah.
You could do wedge with R4 Astromech and like a 1-point marksmanship or crackshot or something like that. It's a tough call to make, isn't it? Yeah. We're not really getting Luke in for that kind of cost, but E-Wings, I don't know if they really sit in the right points band. Certainly not the generics.
No.
A bit of a public service announcement. Some ships just really function better on one end of the point spectrum. E-Wings is one of those ones where you basically want to focus on Gavin and Corrin mainly.
Yeah.
Same with Defenders. You really want to focus on named pilots, where their generics really do suffer because the platform really works well with good pilot abilities and initiative. That's just the reality of the ship. It is Initiative 4, so it's not terrible. However, it doesn't matter if you're Initiative 4 or Initiative 1 when you're facing off against 5s and 6s. It actually does not make a single difference. And 5s and 6s are so big in the meta right now, it does make it a bit of a tough call. The buying cost of 54 points is just a lot for something that can get outflown so easily, just based on initiative alone.
The fact that Wedge is only 55 points, like 1 point more without having those fire control and astromechs.
Yeah. But look, let's look at this from the point of view, if you are going to fly with these E-Wings, you really want to leverage that whole idea that they can target lock early, they can fire with a lot of dice, and just try not to overcommit with your flying. That's the key thing here. If you fly too hard at your opponent and they just use barrel rolls and boosts or K-turn behind you and stuff, those E-Wings are not going to have a good time.
No.
You'll be very happy if your opponent's flying generic Initiative 3s.
Yes.
Against Vulture Swarms, it's good because this is a sort of a cheaper way of accessing a higher initiative. Just be aware that it does have its really bad case scenarios in terms of what it can achieve.
Yeah.
And having said that, I really like these A-Wings. I'm curious to see whether both of these will work on a Jankyard list. I kind of just want to run Jake on a Jankyard list. What do you think?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I do love Arvel's ability, though.
Yeah.
And with Jankyards, it's all about the abilities. And having such a cool ability.
You're such a Timmy. You're such a Timmy, Justin.
It's so much fun.
It is.
Shooting at range 0.
It's so cool.
You feel good.
It's one of those things that got everyone excited when it was first revealed. Yeah, it's very powerful because apart from anything else, if you shoot your opponent at range 0, they can't shoot you back. It's so good. That's one reason why we like cluster missiles. I like having oopsie insurance cards. Very, very important.
Yeah.
But James looks really, really cool. My advice to you is have a go with this, and I think the obvious flaw, if there is one, is those E-Wings, and have a consider putting some higher initiative other options like X-Wings and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're necessarily better, but give them a go and see what you think. Okay, and we have one final list by Vigilante 9033. Do not worry, Vigilantes 1 through 9032. We'll get to your guys' list very soon. This is Luke and a whole heap of A-Wings.
Yeah, that's in fact 4 A-Wings, all with Intimidation.
That's right, the Phoenix Squadrons. Luke has Sense and, of course, Servo Motor S-Foils. I wanted to include one kind of fun list amongst all of this.
Yeah.
And this is kind of fun, you think?
It's a lot of A-Wings.
It's a
33 points.
It reminds me of what we were talking about with Chewbacca on the Resistance.
Yeah.
How you want to try and leverage one ship's ability to attack by just putting a whole heap of generics alongside it. So, yeah, just having a really aggressive sort of ace-ish brawler platform like Luke alongside them seems decent. Sense means they are better at blocking. I honestly would consider going for a cheaper force upgrade. I know what you're doing here. I know you want to try and leverage that ability to block. But if you take something like Predictive Shot, Brilliant Evasion's interesting.
Evasion's not a bad idea.
No, it's not a bad idea, is it? I like both of those options. I'm just suggesting that you don't need to leverage that blocking ability any more than just having 4 A-Wings in general. You'll find the more comfortable you get flying them, you don't really have to go all in on a strategy. Remember, those kinds of combo builds can feel bad when it doesn't work. And oftentimes, if you weren't going to be able to block without Sense, you wouldn't block with Sense. It doesn't really matter.
I see where you're coming from.
That's just my thoughts on that. It is a 5-point upgrade. That's just what I'm thinking there. It's stopping Luke from taking like an astromech or a different force ability, and that is a real cost. That is absolutely a real cost. My main question is, do we think Luke can pull off victories just basically without any upgrades? I know Sense is there to help the A-Wings. He doesn't really have anything to help himself. He's a very, very powerful platform. I like Luke.
Yeah.
I also love...
He has double the points of the A-Wings, and once he pops...
Oh, yeah. You don't have a lot going on.
Yeah.
Although I will say that when an A-Wing blocks, all of its other A-Wing buddies do get to have dice mods. Intimidation prevents your opponent from rolling one of their defense die. That's going to feel so bad against Decimators. Yeah.
Decimators don't have dice to begin with.
Exactly.
So how can you roll fewer defense dice?
You don't. That's the point.
Yeah,
you get no value out of intimidation whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Decimator pilots themselves.
Oh, no. Decimator pilots are very happy about this.
Yeah, no, I'm like, why are you talking like this? I'd be, so happy.
Even
have Oiken run in and just use intimidation himself.
That's it. Even just ships that have one defense dice and go, well, the one green dice was going to betray me anyway, so who cares? I mean, that's the thing. This is going to do very well against certain lists, against certain flying styles. Yeah, look, if you take it to a tournament, you might just dogpile Kylo. And you might feel great. I don't think it's going to be consistent enough to take tournaments. I just love how fun this is.
Oh, definitely a fun Friday night build.
Absolutely. And that is it for these lists on the A-Wing. Now, next week, we'll either be talking about the Resistance or Republic. Just a reminder, in case you aren't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and check the community tab. I do an announcement a couple of days before we do these recordings. So any of you can get any last-minute submissions in if you like. So don't worry, we still have that going. You'll still know about a day or two in advance before we record these videos. And yes, as always, please, in the comment section down below, we need more submissions. We're still kind of playing catch up since the points change, although we do have a nice collection of lists now, thankfully, over the last few weeks. We have built up some, but there is always the ship that we do that's a bit obscure and like, oh, we don't have any lists for that one. Yeah. In the meantime, do not forget to like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Reddit. Please consider supporting the Patreon, the best thing right now to help support the channel. Like, even $1 a month. If most of you were doing that, I'd be quitting my daytime job, basically. Thank you so much to all of the existing patrons, and we'll catch you all in the next video.
Bye.